Artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. These things have really blown up over the last few years, especially the last 12 months. But what I'm getting ready to get into right now is exactly why, in my opinion, and why I personally do not use ChatGPT at all when it comes to manifestations and spirituality. But before I get into the video, as always, my contact information is in the description or in the comments below. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you would like to work with yours truly one-on-one. I've seen a lot of videos pop up over the last 12 months in regards to using ChatGPT to figure out how to manifest something in particular, whether it's a person, whether it's money, whether it's business, whatever the case might be. And while I'm not going to sit here and completely shit on ChatGPT or AI, because I do believe AI and ChatGPT has its rightful place. However, what I am seeing is I believe that people are becoming too reliant on ChatGPT for the answers. And when it comes to spirituality, in my opinion, I believe that is a huge no. ChatGPT, in my opinion, is really great for looking up information, facts. I personally use ChatGPT when it comes to looking up statistics or data of some sort. You know, how many people are on planet Earth? How many men experience X, Y, and Z? Or how many women experience X, Y, and Z? When I'm looking up statistical data or I want to learn something, I think that ChatGPT is extremely helpful for that. But when it comes to decoding dreams and figuring out what am I going through with this person or what am I going through with myself internally, I think a lot of times you can be misdirected when it comes to using ChatGPT. In my opinion, we were all born with this divine knowing, with this divine feeling. And if you really believe in spirituality and LOA, and you really do believe that you are God and that you are connected to God, you are connected to source, in my opinion, you should develop those qualities. You should develop that intuition that we all are born with, because it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. We are all born with these intuitive powers. However, as we get older, we get disconnected from these powers as we start to live life, as we gain negative experiences, etc. ChatGPT, in my opinion, to put it frank, is making a lot of people dumber because it's allowing us to not think. When we go through something, we're not feeling through it. We're not learning from it. We're not learning how to heal intuitively. We're not learning how to get the answers intuitively. All we're doing is running to ChatGPT and we're hoping ChatGPT gives us an answer, which, by the way, we don't even know if that answer is correct. And what I want to say to that is, I think a lot of you out there, once you do the work and once you learn how to get back in touch with your intuitive side, your spirituality, I think a lot of you do know the answers and you will learn to have the answers. And you will also learn that you don't need to go to ChatGPT to get these answers because you already know the answers are inside of you. And you will learn to listen to that small, still voice, as they say. You will learn to listen and get signals from your subconscious mind and all of that type of stuff. And you will know how to proceed forward with whatever situation you are in. Me personally, I believe ChatGPT is taking the easy way out, because instead of sitting there and trying to feel into whatever it is that you're going through and try to get the answers that way, you would rather just type it in and have AI spit out an answer that is generic that could probably fit every other person in the world and what you're going through. It's no different than a horoscope. You know, it's funny. I remember hearing a guy tell a joke about a horoscope. This guy, he read out a horoscope to this woman one time, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through right now." And he had lied to her and told her that it was her horoscope. It actually wasn't for her horoscope. It was for another horoscope. And he did that to show her all of these horoscopes can basically fit any horoscope that you want it to fit. And so stop giving it meaning. And this is how I look at the answers from ChatGPT. ChatGPT just gives you out these generic answers a lot of times. It tends to just agree with you a lot of times instead of actually giving you hard advice based on your particular situation. Now, if you type it in to be more specific and cater towards that, it'll give you a better detailed answer on keeping you accountable. But if you don't do that, then it seems like it's just going to, for the most part, go along with whatever it is that you're saying. So if you're bashing whoever your specific person is in ChatGPT, ChatGPT is just going to keep going along with it, saying,
Yeah, that's right. Your person needs to do this. Your person needs to do that.
and it's not going to get down into the weeds of what you actually have to do to fix yourself on your end in order to become better. Because as we know, studying this stuff, it all starts with you. As we know from studying Neville said, don't try to change people, change yourself. And you know, I think about in my own personal life, there were many instances in the real estate business over the last decade or so that I realized me doing the work on myself allowed me to keep myself out of a lot of trouble in the real estate business, because I can't tell you how many times I used my intuition because I developed it. I developed these habits to the point to where I don't need to go to ChatGPT in order to get answers, or I don't need to go to somebody else to get the answers because I really understood and laid the solid foundation to where I know I am the answer. I have the answers. God is inside of me. So in the real estate business, I can't tell you how many times I predicted the future because that's one of the side effects is when you get really good at this stuff, when you start studying, you literally can predict the future a lot of times. And it's one of those things that just becomes enhanced and you really do become omnipotent in a sense. And not in an arrogant type of way, but just in an all-knowing type of way because you feel like you have the answers. You feel like you really do know. So in real estate, there were so many times I used to tell people that I was working with, I used to say, yo, listen, don't do business with this person. You can go ahead and do business with this person, but I'm not going to do anything with that person. They would come to me and be like, yo, Marv, why not? And I remember I said this one time. I said, yo, oil and water don't mix. Me and that guy that you're getting ready to do business with, our styles are totally different. What he wants and what I want, I already know it's not going to work. But again, this comes from doing the work. This comes from developing my intuition. And you can only do that over time. And so the fact that I had been working on myself and developing these instincts of mine, these natural born instincts of mine, and not letting them lie dormant, I was using it, enhancing it because it's a muscle. Time after time after time, I would find myself getting myself out of these situations in the real estate business. But I would look at other people or people that I was working with at the time, and I would see them going through all of this bad stuff because they chose to do business with people time and time again. And there was at least 5-6 times minimum where I told someone, yo, don't do that. Don't work with that person. And they didn't listen. And they went on to do stuff with these people and they ended up getting burned or they ended up losing money and the stuff just never worked out. And me, on the other hand, I was the one that didn't do the business and I missed out on all of that headache. I missed out on all of the failures and all of that type of stuff because I knew, yo, Marv, that's not your path. You got to walk away. And the people at the time, they thought I was crazy, but then they realized in due time, whether it was 6 months down the road, whether it was a year down the road, 2 years down the road, they always come back to me without fail. And they say, Marv, you were right about this. Yo, Marv, you were right about that. And all I could do is just sit there in the back of my mind and just say to myself, yeah, I know I was right, motherfucker. But you see, I'm so accustomed to this now, I really don't blame people because I understand most people, they haven't done the work like I've done and they have not become intuitive the way I have become intuitive. It's second nature for me right now. And I want it to be second nature to you, but it all starts with you putting in the work. So again, I'm not completely shitting on ChatGPT because it does have its place and it does 1000% help people at times to decode certain things potentially and to say, you know what, this is what you might be going through. You might be going through this. This is the path you might want to take. But what I'm trying to help you guys to understand is I'm trying to help you understand you already have those answers. You are the answer. You don't need ChatGPT for those answers. And what happens if technology goes out? God forbid we go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month without electricity or some crazy stuff happens and you're not going to be able to get to ChatGPT. You know, I think about these types of things, and this is why I always try to sharpen my natural skills. This is why I personally don't revert to ever using ChatGPT or AI because I want to have those faculties. We have those faculties that ChatGPT has. We created ChatGPT, humans. So you think ChatGPT is greater than the creator? I personally am taking the route of I don't want to be dumbed down. Every time that I need to figure something out, I don't want to just run to ChatGPT and just try to type it in just to get the answers because ChatGPT, like I said earlier, is making people extremely lazy in my opinion. And it's not making people smarter. It's making people dumber in certain areas, in certain aspects, because people are naturally losing their problem solving skills. And for me, I don't want to lose my natural problem solving skills. I want to be able to look inward and know, Marv, you can figure this out on your own. Marv, you can figure out intuitively how to make money on your own. You can figure out intuitively how to fix this relationship or fix that relationship. Marv, you can figure it out on your own. You watching this video right now, you can figure it out on your own. Do yourself a favor and don't get lazy. Like I said, if you want to learn information, how many people are on Earth, how many people are on the continent of Africa, how many people live on the eastern part of the world, that's what ChatGPT is good for, in my opinion, to look up that type of stuff. But decoding intuition and decoding dreams and figuring out what this means, what that means on a personal, spiritual level, I don't think that machines have a place for that really. I don't think that a computer has a place for that really. Because I think there's a spiritual element that ChatGPT is missing. And quite frankly, it can't make up for that. No matter how smart ChatGPT is, you cannot make up for a human element, human touch, human compassion, human knowledge when it comes to personal touch one-on-one. And honestly, it can't make up for a lot of stuff. I mean, think about growing up. Think about how we used to be able to do math in our head. We used to be able to do math without having a calculator. We used to be able to do all of that stuff. And then now, with the advent of all of this technology, we've become dumber. We don't even remember how to do long division. We don't even remember how to do math on paper anymore because it makes us dumber. And so me personally, I realize when it comes to spirituality and LOA and that type of stuff, I don't want to become dumber in that area. I want to become smarter, and I want to always have these faculties enhanced and working 100% of the time. So for me, I never use ChatGPT for any situation I'm in. No matter if it's a relationship problem, no matter if it's work, no matter if it's money, no matter if it's for YouTube, I will never use ChatGPT to come up with any YouTube title. I will never use ChatGPT. It is all going to be me. I refuse to use ChatGPT for this stuff. And if you want an SP back, I consider you going that route as well. Because I was working with someone recently. We were having this conversation and I told them, I said, I totally disagree with what ChatGPT said. ChatGPT had diagnosed a problem with a person. And I said, wait a second. I said, no. I said, because ChatGPT is not holding you accountable for X, Y, and Z. And I went down each step of why I thought that ChatGPT was wrong. Now, I thought ChatGPT was right about certain things, but a huge piece that it missed was the piece that I went over with this person when I was speaking with them. Again, ChatGPT has its place, but I wouldn't recommend using it for LOA. Don't take the shortcuts. Do the work. You will not regret it. You will walk around literally feeling like modern day Jesus. When everyone else is lost, when everyone else is typing in, turning to ChatGPT for all the answers, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, how do you always know? How do you always have it figured out? How can you always predict the future? And all you're going to look at them and say is, because I've done the work on myself.